The use of QR codes has been a part of the marketing landscape for decades. However, its much more powerful cousin, NFC, was the logical next step in the evolution of communication between devices like smartphones and unpowered objects like cards, posters, and signage. Near field communication, or NFC, has the potential to be a powerful marketing and connectivity tool if it can ever gain traction. So we'll start with the history of NFC, the short version. Once upon a time, there was a robot named RFID. His name was Radio Frequency Identification, but his creators and friends called him RFID. He had the ability to communicate with anything, but he only knew a few words and spoke loud enough for anyone around to hear. A group of scientists came together and thought they could do a better job by building a robot and set the standard for the quieter, more secure, and easier to teach and communicate with robot called NFC. We will call the scientists Nokia, Sony, and Philips to protect their identities. This was the NFC Forum, and it was created in 2004. Specifications were released and solidified in 2006, and Nokia released the first NFC-enabled phone. Android produced its first NFC phone through Samsung in 2010, but the robot called NFC was never allowed to grow up and remained a childlike technology, thought to be held down by his evil uncle, Apple. All jokes aside, NFC itself is not a new technology, but its growing accessibility and support is. NFC is being used regularly as an asset management and inventory tracking tool and has been for almost 20 years. With the inclusion of NFC chips in smartphones, the usability of this technology has grown exponentially. The newest interest for NFC, however, is its potential for marketing applications. There have been a few campaigns attempting to use the NFC technology to bring an interactive element to advertising. For example, recently, the Tostitos Party Safe bag of chips that detected alcohol in your breath showed an image of a steering wheel and included an NFC chip that called an Uber for you. This is a fantastic idea, but the major problem is that just about all campaigns using NFC so far have been just gimmicky. Just kind of ways to show off that companies are tech savvy and trying to be creative. There has been very little functionality to these types of campaigns. The reason for this, there are two major problems with NFC as a marketing tool. One is the proximity that you have to be to use the chip. Depending on the size of the antenna and the transmitter, on average, the reader must be within 1 inch of the transmitter. Not a huge problem, but one that limits the uses for NFC campaigns. Now, the other major problem is that until recently, Apple has not even included NFC chips in the phones. The iPhone 6 was the first, and both the iPhone 6 and 7 have the chip locked to only allow use with Apple Pay, so no third-party applications. The biggest problem with this for marketers is that Apple users tend to spend more money than Android users, and they also make up around 40% of smartphone users. That's a pretty significant amount of people that would not be able to get everything out of a campaign that was intended. But more importantly, part of the resources of the campaign would have to be used to explain to those users why they couldn't participate. This ultimately creates a negative experience attached to the brand and therefore is an unacceptable snag. Part of Apple's reasoning is a lack of standard security protocols in place for the new technology. There is good news, however. Hopefully. Apple has joined the forum to bring standards that they are comfortable with to NFC protocols. Now, with Cupertino in the game, NFC will begin to thrive as a universal tool for interactive marketing. The future of interactive lifestyles is growing, and the important thing about all of these technologies is their connectivity. With the growth in smart homes and devices, the potential to use NFC in combination with the Internet of Things inside businesses, in advertising, and in the home is a massive opportunity for marketers. Companies can use all of these to make campaigns and games more interactive, more intuitive, and definitely more interesting. When combined with new tech like VR and augmented reality, the world of marketing will open up and a revolutionary leap forward will begin.